Hey, what's up guys? So, doing a video today on taking the worries out of starting up a planted tank. I remember when I was starting up, looking around for different kinds of information, um, things you're going to run into when you're starting up a tank if you have questions and you don't know anything about it. So I'm trying to put a bunch of the stuff that I ran into, um, all in one video to try to knock out a bunch of things that you might waste your time on or waste money on or whatever. So, and before I start this, I just want to say this is still slightly my opinion on how to start up a tank. This isn't necessarily the only way to start up a tank. It's just what I would do the next time I do one. And I didn't do a lot of this stuff the first time, so I learned the hard way the second time. So basically, obviously, you're going to choose a tank. You're going to figure out what you like. You want a smaller tank, you want a bigger tank. I'll say right off the bat, a larger tank. The bigger the tank, the easier it is to get the balance right. And, it's not necessarily any harder to have a bigger tank. There's more surface area to clean, whatever. But it depends on how you look at it. So, to me, I don't look at it as work because I enjoy doing it. But, so anyway, choose a tank. Once you've done that, you're going to be looking at substrates. So if you're doing a planted tank, you're either going to go the substrate route or you're going to go just regular gravel route. So substrate being either dirt or like an eco-complete, like a synthetic blend, type of a substrate. So there's all different kinds of substrates other than dirt. So it depends on what you want to go with. I'm just going to kind of give you my tips and things that I've experienced with both, because I do have both. This tank here has actually got Eco-Complete on the bottom with like a very light dusting of gravel on top. Eco-Complete's really clean, guys. It doesn't cloud up your tank. It doesn't make a mess. It's almost like gravel. It's really kind of a funky thing, but it's awesome. It's got tons of nutrients and stuff. I mean, this tank is doing really well, I think, in my opinion, and the Eco-Complete's definitely helping with the aid of fertilizers. So you got to choose a substrate, guys. My other tank, my larger tank, I used Miracle-Gro organic potting soil, so I've got real dirt in there. So if you guys are going the dirt route, my recommendations are don't just go grab dirt out in your yard. You don't know what's in it. If it's got a lot of sand, that could work against you depending on what you're going for. Like Miracle-Gro organic potting soil is usually what people use, and that's what I have in mind. Reason being, it doesn't have anything that's going to hurt your fish or anything like that in it, so it's all organic. So that's a good choice to go with. And you want to do about a 1-inch layer across the bottom. Now, I have a much thicker layer. Mine's about 2.5 inches. There's ups and downs with going thick on your substrate. I haven't had any issues yet, but what happens is oxygen can't get down inside, so you get CO2 that builds up, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but there's gases. Forget the actual concept behind it, but there is a toxic gas that could be created after a while and leach out and hurt your fish if it's enough at one time. I think a lot of people kind of overreact with that, because I've heard that many people have thick layers of substrates and not had any issues. So I think it's all about how you you can go around and kind of release gas pockets with like some sort of an instrument throughout the day, week, and just release some of that. That's kind of what I did with mine. But I have like almost a 3-inch layer of Miracle-Gro, and then I capped it off with gravel. And the reason you do that is so that it keeps the dirt down, from getting messy with your fish moving around, stuff like that. It just seals it off kind of in a way. So, pick which thing you want to do. You're basically going to get the same results with both, I think, as my experience. Other people may disagree, but if you want it to be easier and less messy, go with the Eco-Complete or something similar to that. You can rinse it, Eco-Complete, before you put it in, but I didn't, and I had no problem. This tank is clear, so I didn't have any issue there. But some people, I think bag to bag, different bags may be more, you know, dusty or whatever, depending on how they were handled or whatever. So that's up to you. But um, yeah, so you either can have a cap or you don't have to have a cap with EcoComplete. That I went with a light cap, so I did it because I didn't want a black base, and I think EcoComplete only comes black or brown. I could be wrong, but that's how I got it. So just the bright rocks. You know, you want to go with smaller pebble rocks. You don't want really large rocks. It'll kind of pack everything down, and it just gets hard. It's harder for things to pass through. So you know, but not to say you can't use larger rock and everything will be fine. I just heard and chose to use smaller rock because they explained that that exact thing is that, you know, it's, you know, it's smaller, so you can get in there better. Things can get in and out and pass through it easier. So then going on to let's see, I pretty much covered dirt for the most part. If you're going to use dirt, if you're going to use organic potting soil or some sort of a dirt, you're going to want to add clay to it, red clay, red potting clay. So that's going to assist with, you know, there's iron in it, I believe. It's going to kind of, it's going to assist. Your plants like a little bit of clay, so red plants and stuff like that are really going to be attracted to the clay and use it up good. So you want to roll it up into little tiny balls, you know, maybe about the size of a Skittle candy, somewhere around there, or an M&M. And just kind of space them out. You don't need to go crazy with it. Just kind of, you know, scatter it out a little bit. So, you know, if anybody has questions on that or any of this stuff, I can always explain it more thoroughly and give you a picture or some sort of a reference. But add the clay to the dirt, and even to the EcoComplete if you want. Just bury it down in there. All right. So if you chose to go gravel and not dirt or substrate. Basically, gravel doesn't have any nutritional value or anything in it, so you're going to have to rely on dosing, definitely dosing fertilizers for, you know, more so than if you had dirt, where dirt has some nutrients in it, and the EcoComplete as well. It's going to have a lot of the stuff that the plants need, but dosing is going to be what you're going to need as a backbone for using just gravel. So otherwise you're going to get yellowing plants, you know, holes in the leaves, things like that. You know, plants need a substrate to really thrive. So gravel will work though. I mean, you could definitely go gravel, but you're going to find that some plants don't do as well. And like I said, you gotta dose your macros and micros. So so just all right. So here's some of this is the most important part about this video, really. When you start up a tank, let's say it's dirt, you're going to get like super cloudy water. Once you choose to either rinse the dirt or not, some people like to take the wood particles out of it and stuff like that. I didn't do any of that stuff. Reason being, I guess it can rot over time, and then, you know, these gases can form and stuff. I don't know. You're supposed to siphon it out or sift it out, but I didn't do it. I don't know. I'm not too worried about it, but we'll see what happens, you know, down the road. But you can either mix it with water and kind of like rinse it out in buckets a little bit and like get rid of some of the stuff, because I'm telling you, the organic potting soil is a mess. Like, but I just honestly dumped mine in. I dumped it in. I got it all leveled out nice. I did not pack it down, which I probably kind of wished I did now. I don't know, but I didn't. So anyway, that's what I did, and I didn't have any problem. So then you go and you buy your gravel. So you're gonna, like I said, get a smaller gravel for a cap. You're gonna cap it with like 1 inch of gravel, roughly. You know, I wouldn't go too crazy on that, too thick. And then you're ready for water. So remember, you got to be thinking about chloramines and stuff like that. So if you've got city water, make sure you're neutralizing the chloramines as you do it. You know, and if you're using a well water, then you're good. It's always good to get a water test. You know, it costs a little bit of money to get it done, but get all the water tests so you know what's in your water, because there may be harmful things in your water, there may be beneficial things, but if you have a water test, you can kind of figure out what your plants need and then see what you're putting in with the water, and then you can kind of counter-react that with fertilizers and things like that, whether it be iron. You know, there's different forms of iron. It gets pretty in depth, but you know, it's not a bad idea to have a water test. Do you need it? No, but it could help you. So make sure so figure out what you got for water, fill it up, okay? You know, you're going to want to have a heater in there, you know, you're going to want to get it to temperature. With a planted tank, it could be anywhere from like 77 to 80, 81. I mean, it really depends on personal preference, what you've got for fish. The plants will be good in that range, no problem, but depending on what you're keeping. But you want to be somewhere in there. And then you've got, of course, so you're full of water, you're going to realize it's super cloudy. Don't get, don't get upset about, having the dirty water. It's normal. You're going to have to do a bunch of water changes. So you're going to fill your tank up, drain it, fill it up, drain it, fill it up, drain it, as much as you possibly can. So what that's going to do is it's just going to keep taking out things that are free floating in the tank and try to clear up the water. And you'll slowly start to see as you do, 5, 6, 7, 8 changes. And again, don't heat the water before you do this. You want to do these water changes before. You don't need to heat it up. You don't need to keep heating it. That's just going to be tough for you to do. So, room temperature to closer to where you're going to be running your tank temperature is good to have that type of water going in. But I mean, it's not the end of the world. You're not going to have fish or plants in there yet. So I would recommend 5 to 6 water changes minimum. Fill it, and your best bet, guys, at that point is to put plants right in and plant the heck out of your tank. If you can just, within a day or two, just order in some plants, whatever you're doing for plants, stuff your tank full of plants, because that is what's going to use up all those minerals and all that stuff that's free floating from that fresh soil and that fresh water. So if you want your tank to get going relatively quick, just plant it full. You don't have to, but I'm just saying you're going to have an easier time with the clarity of the water. The sooner you get stuff in there, the sooner it gets rooted, the sooner it starts eating, it's going to start using up those nutrients, and it's going to start to balance the tank out, okay? So you can pick whether or not you want to just do plants for now. Maybe you want to put some fish in there. That's totally up to you. But just make sure you cycle your tank, guys. I don't want to go too crazy into how to do that right now. It's not hard to do, but I want to get the rest of this down in the video. But you can definitely see how to cycle a tank. There's plenty of videos on how to do it, and it's, you can use a nitrifying bacteria, which will help you to speed up the process. I've heard of putting in fish immediately after adding it. Don't overstock a tank right off. It's not good. And if you're gonna do a planted tank, your honest best bet is to just wait and let the plants get settled in a little bit. There's no issue with adding plants right off. They feed off ammonia, so you're gonna get that cycle of everything. And expect, here's another key thing, guys, in this video, another reason why I made this video. You're going to expect your plants to melt a little bit at first. They're gonna melt. So not all, but maybe, maybe all, maybe some, maybe none. But plants go through shock just like fish do. It's a little bit slower of a change, but they're not gonna die, guys. Just let them sit there. I mean, there's been plants I've had for a couple, 2-3 months that have been looking like they're done, but you leave them alone, and sometimes they'll spread up new leaves out of nowhere. So don't dig them up right away, especially if it's a new plant. It's just nothing to worry about. So things not to worry about, guys. Don't worry about your cloud being cloudy at first. Your tank's gonna be cloudy at first. That's normal. You need to do water changes. You need to get it cleared up, and you need to get it planted with plants. And then 2, you're going to expect plant melt. You're going to have plants that aren't going to look good for a while. You have to expect that, and you have to deal with that. It will go away. They'll get better, or they'll just completely disappear. But I didn't have many plants that just completely died, if any. And I've got a mixture of all different kinds of plants. Crypts. I've even got some Chinese bamboo in here. That's claimed it's not even supposed to be underwater. It's been in there for 2 months. I'm sure I'll pull it out in a little while and give it a breather, but then I'll just drop it back down in there. That's the stuff right in the center, the variegated plant that I'm talking about there, the Chinese bamboo. That stuff's pretty cool looking. It's a nice little touch. But so basically, guys, look out for those 2 things and don't worry about it. Just sit back and it's gonna happen. But just water changes, guys, and So, all right, so getting a little bit more advanced into the clearing up stage of the water, you may have driftwood in there that's leaching off tannins and stuff. Don't worry about that. Just you can soak that before you put it in your tank if you don't like the tannin look. Some people do like the tannin look. I don't like the tannin look. I like my tank to be crystal clear so I can see the colors of my fish and the plants. And tannins don't bother anything for the most part. They're not going to hurt your fish. They're not going to hurt the plants, but you're just going to hurt your visibility. You can't see anything. So it's not for me. So if I add driftwood, I soak it in hot water in the tub because I got wicked hot bath water. So about 3-4 hours, soak it. Do it again. Rinse and repeat type thing. That's going to reduce your tannins. But sometimes pieces, depending on what type of wood you have, if it's real red looking, it's usually going to be a long haul for you to get it to clear up. It's just going to leach off, and it makes your water look kind of like tea. So depends on what you're going for a look. Just a heads up on the driftwood. Save yourself some time, some water changes, stuff like that. You can leave it out. So so more advanced ways to clear up your water. A UV sterilizer, not a bad thing to set up right away if you're having dirt tank set up. Because you're going to have yellowy, green, algae water in there for a while. That's all normal. That's part of the cycle, guys. So don't worry about the yellow-green water for up to 2 months. You know what I mean? But throw a UV sterilizer in there. Make sure you get one that's appropriate for your tank. A small one will work on a large tank. It's just going to take a long time. But get an appropriate wattage for your tank. 18 watts for 100 gallons and up, and it goes down from there. So yeah, that pretty much takes care of UV sterilizing your water to clear it up. Another way to keep your water clear while you're going through this algae type stage, you're going to get algae on your plants. You're going to get green waterborne algae most likely with a dirty tank. So new algae, it's a great product. It's a little expensive, but it lasts quite a while on an average size tank. Even on my larger tank, I'm getting a few months out of a little bottle. So they sell a couple different sizes that I know of. Like I said, it's a little pricey, but the stuff works. Take my advice. Grab it, use it. It just takes about 2-3 weeks to start noticing a difference, but it's going to clear up your plants like you wouldn't believe, and the clarity of your water is going to be insane. So that's